Decorating Pages podcast presents Production Design Film Study. This class examines Oscar-nominated films spanning a century of cinema. Accomplished professionals in production design will explore and dissect the sets featured in these nominated films and will educate why they were recognized for the design of their time. This class features the films of 1968. This year's films are reviewed by set decorator Kim Wanup and set decorator Regina Graves. Well, I want to thank you for putting in all this time for these movies, because it really wasn't just 5 movies. It was 8 movies, right? We had 4.
It was.
Yeah, 8 movies. It was a long haul for this.
They were long movies. I really didn't. I didn't count on that when I chose. I mean, I chose it randomly. So
Yeah,
but
19.
it was fun. It was fun. I'm
Yeah.
sorry it took 6 months for me to, to get through them all.
No, I don't think it took us that. I mean, it took us a while to connect, to talk about it, but
Yeah.
it did. I took War and Peace in stride, I would say. It was like maybe once a week we
For
would
sure.
throw that on. But such a like span here of these movies, from sci-fi to period to recreating in Shoes of Fisherman, and then all the Broadway stuff in Star. Like, it was really a span of some fantastic sets.
It definitely was. So I was glad that I chose 1968 for my birth year. So that
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah. I also had never.
I mean, at first, yeah, like looking at it, going, "Oh my gosh, I have like."
Yeah. Oh, now you did go out. Now I don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, my internet's up. I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe it was
I
just.
wonder if it's my head, like my headphones.
Oh, maybe. Do you want to try it without them, or does you need them?
Yeah, let me
Here.
see. I don't really need them. Do you use them?
No. My equipment's pretty bare here. Fortunately. Mm. Do you hear me now? I don't hear you. I don't hear you. It tells me that you're talking, actually, but it doesn't. Maybe.
Maybe I'll just keep them in.
I hear you now.
Yeah, because I put them back in.
Mm.
All right, let me just try it like this. I'm sorry. I'm like the
Oh,
worst.
no. I just don't want you to cut out if you're giving your opinion on them.
Yeah.
Well, I hear you now. Or
How do I disconnect these things?
disconnect. I think you put them back in their holder.
Yeah, I did. I put them in the case.
Um, I think there's that little dashboard up in the top. Sometimes you can, like, maybe it's still connected to them. Let me see. Like, up here, right? Up here in that little thing, it tells you, I think, if you're connected to them.
Oh, right up there.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not connected to them, so it doesn't say that. Benson, get down. Get down. Mm. I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, let's just go from here and see what happens.
Okay, let's try.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, no problem. I just don't want to miss anything you say. That's all.
And yeah, and vice versa. I don't
Yeah,
want to miss what you say.
yeah. I had only ever seen Space Odyssey out of these. Had you seen any of these before?
I have.
You have.
Um, I have. Well, I saw Oliver. I mean, that was like the only one. I've watched Oliver so many times when I was a kid,
Oh,
but never really paying attention like I did this time. Say.
yeah. I think with all of the films that I've been able to watch through this and really watching it more with like a design and decorator eye is so much more enlightening. Even films I've seen many times and then but specifically
Hmm.
focusing it's been awesome. Um so
Yeah,
let's
like well, again,
yeah.
it was. Yeah, I definitely took the time to like really look at the sets and um, get more involved in it.
The production designers for 2001 are Anthony Masters, Harry Lang, and Ernest Arsher, set decorator Robert Cartwright. And the film is about after uncovering a mysterious artifact
Mhm.
buried beneath the lunar surface, a spacecraft is sent to Jupiter to find its origins. A spacecraft manned by two men and a supercomputer HAL 9000. I'd have to say I've watched this movie probably 3 times in my life. I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea. Even after I mean, I'm reading that synopsis the other night, putting this together, and I was like, "Is that what it's about?" I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. I'm not good at this movie at all. Like, I don't but
I
I love the reference of it. I love that everybody references it and its design, but I don't get the movie.
definitely.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I had to actually like look up the ending of the movie to what it was all about, and then
Yes.
okay, now I get it a little bit. Um, but I don't know. I think it was just really designed to be like this visual because there's hardly any dialogue. If you really think
Yeah.
about it, there's like nothing going on except for creepy Hal and some interaction with like the space guys. But as far as like the design of it, it's just kind of crazy that this was designed in 1968 to
Y
me. I'm just like, this is really crazy. It's just so, and we go back and we do modern films now, and so much of this film is referenced
yeah.
still
Yeah.
because the sets hold true for today's like futuristic vision of it all.
Oh, yeah. Like, even like this the airplane that they're in and, like, just, all of the details that they put into this one set that's on the screen for, like, a second. I think they do go back to it, but it's like everything is designed so well and has been like infused into the minds of designers and decorators that this is it. Like this is what it was going to be. I mean, the White Room has been referenced millions of times in commercials and other films, and it's crazy.
And that ceiling, I mean, when I watched this again, I'm like, the ceiling, it reminds me of, I mean, that's been used so many times, like in
Yeah,
like Batman, one of the Batman Begins or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
in all these different laboratories now you see that kind of ceiling. Um,
And it's so low. It's weird. It's so weird.
and
Um,
like the red furniture, that's just
yeah, I think I
people are
have
still
that.
using that.
Do I have that
But
coming up?
Um, what got me on this was the flat screens and all of the playback. And I was just like, I didn't realize they were so advanced in
Yeah.
1968 with these films and how, because I think playback now sometimes is like an issue,
Oh yeah.
and just how they did it all and how they were just so right about it all, especially like when he goes into the telephone booth, to call his daughter and he has like an eye chat with her, which was
Yeah.
really funny. It was
It's
like
it's
crazy.
it's like this and the Jetsons, like, predicted our future, like, I just the subtle uses or bold uses of color in and out of scenes and sets is, I think, fantastic too.
Mhm.
Um, all of and it's really simple shapes that they just kept using in repetition, and you see that later in Star Wars too, of how, like, they used all that too. I'm sure they referenced this. this is like a classic scene of like how did they do that and turning the camera and like fascinating. I can't imagine the first time you see this because I'm kind of like, oh, I saw many cool things before I saw this. So this must have been awesome in 1968 to watch, you know?
People were just like blown away by it. I'm like, what did I
Yeah. I,
see? Or like it's just crazy to even think about that. And yeah, that just reminds me so much of like even walking into the TWA,
yeah.
lobby or something. But and the Hilton, I mean, all of it, the vending machines. I mean, it's just so,
And you're right. Look
you
at
know,
the big screens. And they don't even have anything on them. You could
it's crazy.
we could never not have something on the screen. That's even better.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the whole pitch of the roof that they designed and I just I just wonder how like how much of this was designed more so by the director. Now I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, Kubrick. Because I feel like he was pretty he knew what he wanted and that's it.
Yeah, I was reading that that he had like or all these, he hired people from NASA and like IBM and
Mm,
um people had worked in the aeronautics business, all of that. And they just, I think even one of the production designers might have worked for NASA or something, I read. um
yeah, I think that was the last one, the last guy that I read. Then, or was it this Robert Cartwright? Oh, the
but
decorator.
you like compare this, you compare something like this, like Star Trek, in Star Trek, you look at it
Yeah.
now and you're like, oh, it's so kitschy. And they make that out of like a tin can, it's just, they got it. They just did it really well, obviously in this movie, and that's why it's probably referenced so much nowadays.
It just, oh, yeah. It's crazy that I don't think that we've evolved a whole lot either, which is
Mhm.
crazy to me, which is like a bummer because I feel like a lot of times people still reference Minority Report. And you're like,
Yeah,
"That was 20 years ago. So, can we not do Minority Report? Can we stay in this room till we think of something new?" Like,
mhm.
these chairs are fantastic. They had to have built those, they're not real, right?
No, those look like they had to been built. I haven't seen something like that around.
Yeah.
But like you said, the subtle use of the colors, and they're all like the blue, the yellow, the red, like all of just like a primary color just pops in any of the screen, in any of the sets against the white, basically. Um,
And again, just big white walls. Like, this
Mhm.
DP had no fear. It was great. It's so great, and all
It
this white,
was like,
I
look
mean
at that. I don't know, you're on that futuristic show right now. Did you have a hard time sourcing when you were building the
well,
spaceships and
oh, yeah. I mean, we built all the consoles that the, designer and art directors designed, and then it gets kinda handed over to set deck in LA. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like in New York, the decorator would have designed it more, but here, they design it, and then we kinda pay for it and manufacture it, whatever.
Well,
Um, but
set designers usually design it, but we'll have to find like a lot of the pieces that like
no,
the half round tops here on these beds.
yeah.
We just did something like that recently, and I remember like, I had to get them custom made and they were so expensive. And I'm just wondering, like, in 1968, did they have teams like we have, buyers and shoppers? Did they just have
Yeah.
one decorator?
Well,
Who
yeah.
sourced all of this?
I think it was just I mean, they credit one person, I didn't go deep into it, but I mean, you this had to have been an army
Mhm.
of set designers and everything. There's so many sets that you see once or maybe twice, quickly. There's so much going on. I feel like there was something about they used, like, the biggest stages they had in the UK, and I didn't read how long they had to shoot this whole film, but I can't imagine. The prep must have been like a year or something back then. And I always think like back then, it must have taken longer, right? Like, it had to have.
I think, yeah, definitely.
Because we had like 6 months, 5 months or something to do season 4 For All Mankind, and that was building like, a huge Mars and two spaceships and everything, and that was even tight, and the sets weren't even ready to shoot really. So, but yeah, uh, I mean, and then the going out on the surfaces and all of this gack and everything. It's fantastic. It just you know mind blowing that they did all this. I mean, I've watched films from the 20s and everything that my mind is blown that they did all that, but this sci-fi to me is such a new, genre in 1968 that it's so great. Yeah. This, I thought props. I mean, why are we going back to square dishes for things? How funny is that?
Love that.
And look, he's got an iPad. You're right.
Yeah, it's crazy, like all the different screens.
Yeah. But yeah, we would have, building the consoles, like those chairs and everything. We built chairs, so I know they had to manufacture all of this. And
Mhm.
that's all probably vinyl that on the walls and everything.
Nice.
Yeah. Get some drapers in there. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah. Just so many buttons, so many light up buttons. It's crazy.
But they also look really good.
Yeah. They
And
all
like
look really good.
like the Star, sometimes like I said, I'd look at Star Trek and like, ooh, so bad.
The
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I mean that's all like they didn't have like the best resources, but it's just incredible that this movie, like you said, was made in 1967, 68, and it's just still people still go back and
Yeah. How many times
look
have you
at
seen this shot?
it.
Yeah. It's
Even
crazy.
the lighting, the way
Yeah.
the lighting panels are, like the in set and everything, the lighting is really great.
Well, this like force, I'm thinking it's a forced perspective to how they built it. And then how this is definitely replicated in like a Star Wars and Galactica and all those. And then this huge room. I mean, I can't imagine how many it's so many sets. It is crazy. This because you have to build this. None of this existed. That they didn't go somewhere.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure they did all this, and then NASA was like, "Hey, let's do it like that." Like, let's. Yeah, the colors. And I mean, I didn't look up who the DP was, but bravo. I mean, I could look that up, but I don't know. It's such a staple. And then you get to this part. I don't even know what's going on. At this part, I have no idea what the story is.
Well, so that's the part I was like, "What's going on here?" So then I looked it up, and it was just about, like, how it's supposed to be, like a zoo, kind of like the human. He's left, and he's basically, like, looking at himself, but he's being observed almost in a zoo. Um, like how we put animals in a zoo, like how it started out with the apes in the beginning. But he's basically, like, looking at himself and looking at himself age and get older, and he's trapped in this little space, and that's where he finds his death.
But what is
The
the
furnishing, like,
what
I
is
you
the
know
reasoning for this? Like,
uh,
what? This isn't even of his century. I mean, or his. That's what's crazy to me is how this. What is it? That's Celdon green, which I love. I love that color. But like, it's just fantastic. It's just completely something you shouldn't be in this movie. This like neoclassic type of design and decor is it's crazy. I don't get it. And people love it and I don't get it. But yeah, I don't the big wall. Yeah, so you're right. So there he is watching himself get old. Beautiful bed. Look at the tufting and like
it's just all, and it's all like everything seems like it's built in, like everything's just built into the wall, and
yeah, all the moldings and everything just connect. Again, like I don't know, and the painting, everything's and then I saw something, now I forget. I saw something where these walls were used again in another movie. Damn, I had that. I read that somewhere. Now I can't remember what movie it was. But they're
That these walls were used in another movie?
y
That's so funny.
yeah. You can see, like, those painting walls were used in another film. Different paintings, but same layout.
I'm sorry if you hear my do you hear these dogs moaning?
No, I don't hear 'em.
Hear anything breathing? It's large dogs sometimes.
You're heavy breathing over 2001? Um,
Salivating for these sets and the big domino, the monolith.
yeah. I think what's exciting is, like, when you're reading this as a decorator and you're like, "Wait, then we get to do what?"
Mhm.
Then, like, a total change of era and the period and everything comes in. I mean, after doing all those buttons, I'm sure anyone was so happy to dive into this one.
Yeah. But now I'm curious. I didn't read about this. I wanna read why, like, why the furnishings, they date back so you
Yeah,
go from this, futuristic to way,
yeah, because it was not part of his world. He wasn't that old. But, I think you're right. I think it was Ernest Archer was the guy from NASA, because I feel like I read that too. And Robert Cartwright, I did 1980 in this film study, and he did Elephant Man. It's just a phenomenal career he had. Um,
definitely.
so yeah, I I'm gonna say it now. I kind of think 2001 should have won.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
After, like, seeing who won and everything. I mean, they all look pretty great and they're all different. It's like, how do you, um, judge between them? It's like, I feel like that's almost like every year, well,
yeah.
especially like this Oscar nominees, but this one, because it's so I just feel like it was never done before and never done in that way.
Well, yeah,
So
and
original and so grand and so timeless, you
well,
know?
I think you find that with a lot of the years, period usually wins. And
Mhm.
speaking of, we'll go to Oliver, who is the winner. Um, and well, production designer John Box and Terrence Marsh, and set decorators Vernon Dixon and Ken Muggleton. Muggleton?
Mhm.
Muggleton.
Muggle.
Muggleton? Yeah. I had never seen this, but I feel like have seen different parts of it, referenced or seen different parts here and there. Um, but I had never seen it. But the movie is about after being sold to a mortician, young orphan Oliver Twist runs away and meets a group of boys trained to be pickpockets by an elderly mentor in the 1830s London. Um, yeah, I guess I should have seen this or I should have read this in high school or something. I didn't.
Yeah, I think I saw it on, like, one of those Disney, like, weekends, like, The Wonderful World of Disney on a weekend, but I remember I actually saw this a couple of times because I remember the whole Oliver, like, "More, please,"
Yeah,
with his porridge. But like I said before, I never really, because I was younger, didn't take in, like, the sets, and once again, I was reading that because I wanted to see if any of this was shot actually in London, and they were saying that it was mostly, done on the sound stages there, like, the
yeah,
biggest sound stages that are in London. So you think about that and you're like, wow, like they really recreated all those street scenes and
yeah,
the railway and all of that and for this Victorian era. And it was just a little theatrical, but
yeah.
pretty again, like a lot of work went into these sets and
Oh yeah,
pretty authentic, I think.
yeah. And the moodiness of them and
Hmm.
the lighting of them were fantastic. But I read that too. It covered 6 sound stages and a huge studio backlot with the scenes. The sets were adaptable; they could be changed out overnight, in spite of their sturdy look, due to the fact that single dance numbers sometimes required changing setups over a dozen times. And the "Consider Yourself" number took 3 weeks to shoot. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well,
That is great.
we'll get to that scene, but this is like where he starts out. this is where he's an orphan, and the I like that iconic, like you're saying, like, "I want some more, please." And, but just the symmetry that they gave this room, I loved, and, like, the barrenness of decor, really, and just the God is love is fantastic. And yeah, they sell him to look at this town that they build with the snow. They sell him to a mortician, and then there's this whole thing with, like, coffins and, um which was funny because I'd seen this, and then looking at that new Wonka movie when
I
they
was just thinking about that. There's a
yeah,
lot of similarities, right, between the
yeah.
Wonka and this.
There really is because it really the colors change so much throughout the film. And maybe because it's, the London and recreating all that, but it definitely reminisced of this in that in Wonka with the washing shop and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, this whole town, they built this whole town. Fantastic. I mean, the forced perspective they give there, and like look at the columns and all the it's a lot of background the whole time. Big dance numbers they had. But this is a lot of dressing. This is a
It is a lot of dressing and even, like, down to, like, the signage and, the graphics. I don't know, I'm assuming they had a graphics department, but it's probably different back then, like, sign painting department, but,
yeah.
and they must you have to think they had to work with, like, the choreographers to get the dance things right, just like in Wonka. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, the sets were massive, and all I kept on thinking was, I mean, I've never been to any of those prop houses out in, in London, but I hear so much about them. It's
Mhm.
just like, I mean, if you can get anything of that period, I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. And look at those lights on the left
Hmm.
on that building.
On the
Those
building or on the
yeah,
yeah,
the left, yeah. Those are great. And all of the things, all of the like you were saying, the crates and everything that they have to use during all look at all the meat. Yeah.
crates, the baskets, the
Yeah.
barrels. Oh, the meat.
The
I was
meat.
looking at that meat. And I was like, oh my gosh! In the past I've done I don't even know, like 3 jobs almost in a row that we needed this hanging meat, and the meat is so bad that we had to get. We can use
With the
some that we have
Irishman, right?
for the
Yeah.
Irishman, and then I was doing another movie in Philly where we needed hanging meat, and oh, then my last job. But it's really funny because we were like, oh, maybe we should just cover some fake stuff with the gauze, but yeah, look at that meat. I'm sure. I don't know. Do you think they were props or is that real?
I
I
mean,
can't
I
guess.
I I honestly thought it was real. Because there's some now that, like, you see in prop houses, and it's so bad. I could never rent
That's
that.
not bad. It's all bad. Looks terrible. But the real is just so expensive because we
Yeah,
tried to go that way too. Plus, then it goes bad. Then who wants it? And
yeah.
but yeah, I was looking at all these scenes in the fish scene.
You have
I
to
had it
wet them. You have to make them look wet or something to
like
make
bloody.
yeah, something, like,
For the
fleshy.
Greatest Showman, I had to do like an
Oh,
like street market, and
right.
getting these baskets and barrels and stuff was just so it was hard.
Oh, it's yeah, anything where you have to get the same or more than the more than 5, you're like, "Oh, man, I gotta where am I getting all this? We have to make this," or, like, "Look at all those barrel in the fish scene, those barrels behind them all
Mhm.
saying, like, sh something." But, yeah, and this set,
Yeah,
this is fantastic. I mean, it looks I don't even know, like, they must have had the whole thing elevated to get the water underneath. It's crazy. This is a huge set. I mean, they have a lot of scenes in this set, they really use it.
hmm
But yeah, it was great. Again,
but
reminds me of Wonka.
yeah, Wonka, and it looks. I mean, kudos to like their art department and scenic department because
Mhm.
painting on it and everything is just like perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, the Scenics really went to town on this. And all the debris and everything that you gotta throw in there, and yeah, that was a really great set. And then It's I don't know, some other part of the set leads into this really jammin' bar. Like, no one's afraid for their lives, they just wanna drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at I really like the texture on all the walls, and it all looks wet and damp and, like, gross. Again, like, so many barrels and dressing and but that cafe was pretty good. Do I have to go in there? Oh, no, this is where this old man who, like
Yeah, all the boys live, right? That's
yeah.
their house.
This is
Or, yeah.
like everything that they steal, they come back and give him, and what a crazy character that guy was.
Mhm.
And also nice the contrast of the colors of what they're stealing compared to where they're living. Was really nice.
Now, was this the same designer who did West Side Story?
Oh, let me
Yeah,
look.
is
It is John Box and Terrence Marsh. I think so. I think Terrence Marsh did. Am I wrong? Let me
yeah,
see.
I know one of the ones that we're looking at did, maybe I'm wrong.
Um, Dr. Zhivago. Terrence
Wow,
Marsh did Dr. Zhivago. The Green Mile, Shawshank, Oliver.
what a career.
Yeah, really. I know. All of these people are so influential to like
No, it
anyone.
was Terrence Levin who did Star. But yeah, I mean, like you think about that, Terrence Marsh and all the different like where and how long his career, spanned.
Yeah. There's some, in doing this, some designers did like, 500 movies or something because they were the head of the studio and were involved in so many movies. You think like no one can do 500 movies or something, but they're credited with them, which is crazy. It's such a different system today that we have. You could but it takes so much I don't it's crazy. It takes a long time to do films now. And it must have taken a long time then. I can't imagine working on 2 films and doing Zhivago and
Yeah,
because Zhivago was like 1965, I believe. So, I mean,
just went right on to the next one.
yeah, 65. Yeah, because I did that year. Yeah. This is great. This is like the quintessential like London like jury
Oh, yeah.
judge banging the gavel, very like Charles Dickens. And then he gets
So this
adopted. Yeah.
this was the one that was I looked up because I said, no, this had to be a location. They said they built this.
Well, you can see this in some shots from the other street. There is an alley. I might have it. Let me go forward a little bit. Oh, maybe I don't. But there's
Okay.
something like there's a couple shots where you can see the white buildings down an alley. And it's like I don't remember in the movie exactly where it is, but I you can see all of a sudden there's like white at the end of one of the streets. I'm assuming it was this.
Mhm.
But I think he walks them from the he walks them right through. I thought maybe from the courthouse. No. Then they got in a carriage or something. But this is huge. Look at this.
They have a lot of scenes there. They have that whole dancing routine.
Yeah.
I think the maids coming out in the morning, and they had to come out on the balcony and do this whole.
Shaking your rugs and cleaning up and um it's not there's not a lot of dressing here,
Mhm.
which is kind of nice that it's so stark and so different from the rest of the film. Maybe that I'm sure that was intentional. There's not even a park bench. We definitely have to have park benches and trash cans today.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and then how
And
light.
I don't know why I keep on saying I'm amazed. I mean, 1968 is not that long ago. I just feel like, wow, I can't believe they did that back then.
No,
Um,
I know.
accomplished it, but I guess, what am I thinking? Of course they
Well,
did.
it's the scale of things were so big. Well, I think
Mm,
it gets to you because you think, well, they were doing this back then, so why is it so hard now?
I know, right? It seems like everything is so hard.
Everything's so hard to do now. Why? They
Maybe they were saying the same things we do.
yeah,
Like,
maybe
what?
they
What? How long? And you have how much money?
they were looking back at the jazz singer thinking, "What
Yeah.
the hell? How'd they do this?" Yeah. I mean, this part of the movie just, like, makes you feel good, like, he's such a good kid, he finally gets to, like, the good like, a good pillow, like, it's so sweet, it's so
A
nice.
nice bed, looks really clean and white and, you know.
Yeah, and they have some really great shots of this, um, like, I feel like, oh, well, it's this one, like, these shots, like, up and down and, like, these long lenses, I just thought, "Oh, they're doing great shit back there," and this
Mhm.
guy living the high life, playing chess all day.
Yep.
Two maids serving tea. It's a great story, though. I mean, obviously, I never read it, so
It
I don't
was
know.
a great story until, and again, because I hadn't seen it in so long, and then, you watch the ending, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, it was kind of dark,"
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's a kid's movie. Is it?
You would think. I mean, it was on, like, I'm pretty sure I watched it on, like, the Disney or something, and I always thought it was like a kids movie because I watched it so many times as a kid.
Well,
But I was like,
yeah,
"Oh,
this is the
I really never got the ending, like, how he killed her and stuff, though." I was like, "Oh, weird."
yeah. Yeah, the guy and well, she was kind of a hooker, kind of, like
Kind of.
yeah, it is violent and scary, I would say. The scene with Oliver Reed. And then this is the ending, and, like, it just that these lives are still gonna go on and thieving and, crossing the streets. This is the only reason I put this in here too, is look at those
The candle
statues.
on the end of the stairway.
Oh, how fantastic are those? And that mirror, really great. And such a contrast. Look at this. There's nothing really going on in this gigantic hallway. And then your staircase is so ornate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like they said, they built everything, and this is the winner of the year. Do I have any other notes? Yeah. Oh, some of these sets were then used for Scrooge,
Oh,
um,
wow.
in
I
the
could s
69 or something. Both films were photographed by Oswald Morris. So he did both of them using some of the same set pieces, which is great. But look at this wet down. It's not overdone. I mean,
like I said, that's a really great shot.
it's dewy. It's nice. That's probably a backing. I mean, it's really good. I understand why this film was recognized. I just don't understand how it won compared
Mhm.
to compared to 2001 and War and Peace. Like, I don't know how anything sort of compares to
Yeah.
that, but
But, like I said before, I think we say that every year sometimes. It's like, I don't think really I had a conversation, the other day with Bob Shaw, the production designer. I was just like, I don't feel like contemporary films or something that looks futuristic gets as much recognition as some like a
yeah,
period piece.
I agree.
And I don't know if that's because people think that the same amount of detail wasn't put in, or I really don't know what it is. But I mean, I think like this year, everyone is high on Barbie,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe things will change. Who knows?
I think Barbie is the sci-fi of the category, kind of.
Hmm.
And there's some that are nominated. I just can't think of one set that stands out to me. Kind of. I don't know. A Barbie to me pushes the envelope.
Yeah.
That's the creativeness. I have always thought to myself, I can't even understand how like a Wes Anderson, like I thought Asteroid City was fantastically designed,
Oh,
and
that's so good looking. Yeah.
that didn't get any love. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, here's our next one. Oh, I don't have this
Ooh,
thing. I mean, this was a gem. I never would have watched this movie. Oh,
I would have never either. I have to be honest, never even heard of the movie.
never heard of it. Yeah, never.
Many Anthony Quinn movies, but this never heard of it. um,
Yeah. Production design George Davis and Edward Carfango, and set decorator Dorsey Howard and Hugh Hunt. And this story, after spending decades in a Siberian gulag labor camp, Roman Catholic priest Kirill Lotka is set free by Russian leader, and then it's set in the height of the Cold War. There's a lot going on in this movie. There's like,
Yep.
and first it starts out, it looks like Dr. Zhivago.
Mhm.
I was like, oh man, this is crazy. The movie starts out, they're in this, which I think was filmed in Iceland. Oh, Finland. This is in Finland. Um, and they go and like tap on this guy's shoulder who's out there like hitting nails in the middle of the snow or something. And they're like, hey, come with me. And he's a priest who's been put away. And it's fantastic. Like all of a sudden, this whole film starts to open up into these gorgeous sets that,
I didn't get to do much research on this. I mean, there at first I was like, are these in locations? I think they filmed around Rome and Italy, obviously, but I'm like, there's no way they were at the Vatican. Like, there's no way that happened. So,
no, I mean, I think that was like they put footage in. And this,
mhm.
and at the end when they're up on the balcony, you can see it was like they put that in. Um, oh, I have notes about the designer Oscar Warner did Ship of Fools and Man Who Came In From the Cold, which is also very good films. George Frank had 17 nominations, starting with All About Eve, Diary of Anne Frank. His second win was The Robe. His first was Touch of Blue, and he did Love Is a Many Spender Thing, and Davis was also an initial project manager for Tokyo Disneyland.
Wow.
These people were all over the place. Yeah. I don't have all I have as a note was that it was filmed in Finland and Rome. I
So I
didn't.
guess Finland was the beginning.
Yeah.
Must
But this has to be a location. Do you
yeah,
think? Yeah.
you would think, right?
I would think this is a location. I think there's a couple rooms in Rome that look like this. So, I think this is a location, gorgeous. And then also you get this sci-fi touch, which is fantastic. Now look at this. They didn't have 2001 to reference. Yet
Mhm.
yet there's still a thread in there,
Yeah,
which
with
is
like the tulip chairs and sorry, I forgot about that room.
yeah, it's a super weird room. I mean, this Russian leader always checking up on the priest. Um and it's dark and it's I guess vibrant only in like the reds of Russia. And then I found this
Wow.
it's like these are like the theater cards that they have, which are always
Mhm.
so great to find.
But see, now look at that compared to like 2001.
Yeah.
You know, like the room has almost like this brutalist kind of like the walls, like that starkness. But I don't think they were like they're little like the board, the keyboard type thing that the control panel doesn't look as,
No, it doesn't have any lights.
yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't light up. But maybe that's you could say
It still looks good for what it is for that
yeah.
time period.
You could say I could make this opinion now. Maybe it's like that because it's Russia in the Cold
Yeah,
War. But
exactly.
but then they probably thought it was super cool. I
Hmm.
got the red and the white phone. You got your blotter. Like this airplane was fantastic. The details that went into this airplane. This has to be they had to build this. They weren't shooting in airplanes back then, were they? I mean, the light on the seat, that's fantastic.
Like the curtains, how they alternate the different colors.
Yeah. I just love and I love the airplane. Oh, so good. I'm Catholic, so I was very much sort of like, well, I've never really thought about the Pope's inner world.
Hmm.
Um So I really like how stark everything is and monotone, and then like the red rug or the red cardinals coming in. I thought this room was really well designed and decorated.
Yeah,
Those chairs are fantastic. The little details. But it's so subtle.
it is.
Like what are those books? I don't even, or is that drapery? I have no idea. I think it's books.
By the cabinets, think they're just books. But, like,
Bibles.
you're right, the everything is monotone.
Yeah. And then there's this sub story which made no sense to me either of he's a reporter. He's gonna cover
Like,
the
the wife and the yeah, and the mistress or whatever's going on there.
yeah. All I could look at was the lampshade. I was like, look at that lampshade. It's lace on. Look at the, and then look at the fixtures. Fantastic. But the whole room is like red silk. I couldn't.
Mhm.
I was trying to
Yeah,
get
some
that
are
too.
closer to, like, the looks like red damask or something.
And then the
But
trim
I
is
kept
like
on
wood.
staring at the curtains, like the draperies, I
Yeah.
just kept on st
Yeah. And yeah, and the trim and like all of these like there's a real contrast of like what's going on in the real world versus, the Vatican, which I liked.
Mhm.
I liked that back and forth of color and everything. And then this guy has his little circle of friends he's talking to. Um I thought these were well, this has to be a set in my opinion. Uh, but I don't think we went back in that back room, did we? What's going on back there? It's like a whole nother library or something back there. I don't
Oh,
think.
I don't think they were ever back there.
I like that there's different chairs. Like they all pulled up a weirdo chair too. You know, only the Pope gets all the same chairs. I liked that. This guy's apartment was fantastic, or the husband and wife.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much going on here, and nothing really makes sense. Like, look at that blue wall above the fireplace, and then a ship. I don't know.
No, it was good.
Yeah, it is all character pieces. Though was really good. This, so they were got permission to shoot here. I mean, this is real. I think. I think this.
No,
I think this
it's
is
real.
real. They're up in some. Like,
There's just like there's no way they were inside the Vatican.
yeah, I don't. I agree with you, but I thought this was real. I don't think
No,
that's a
that
blue.
had to be. I mean,
Yeah,
that's probably, a street over or something, put that in the
because
back.
they're kind of at the same place in both of
Mhm.
these scenes. They must have only been able to get this one garden to shoot in, and then they tried to green it differently or something. Because that guy
Yeah.
has a tree. Oh yeah. Um. So then the Pope dies, which was also fantastic to see this whole process on the screen. I thought that was interesting. Um, and then thinking decorating the funeral of the Pope is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
The candles and like making the velvet bed and
But I remember, like, when the Pope died years ago when I was little and my grandmother just sat with the TV, she was waiting for, like, the smoke to come up out of the Vatican
yeah, yeah,
when they so that was really interesting, like, watching them, all the different, I guess the cardinals vote on who the next pope would be
yeah.
and how it comes about and, like, is it the whites when it's white smoke? Um, is that when
It's
they pick it
white.
or is
They don't. I think it's white when they don't have anyone, and then it's
yeah,
black when they finally vote for someone. This to me is a location. I'm pretty sure that staircase is fantastic.
yeah.
But and the wardrobe in this film is really well done, I would say. And then this is them. What were they building here? Now I forget this scene. I don't know. But anything in progress when you're
Well, I
decorating.
think they were putting in weren't they putting in, like, bedrooms and stuff for when all of the cardinals were coming to, like, come
Oh
to
right.
vote or something?
Oh right. Yeah. Look at all the beds rolled up. You're right. Because they have to come from all over the world. So yeah, you're right. They were setting up bedrooms in like one of these chapels. I don't know. This kind of looks like a set.
That does look like a set to me.
That looks like a set. It's an awfully big build. But anything, anytime you're decorating something like, and it's in progress, and first we see it this, and first, and then it's that, I hate it.
I that because they usually start with like, we'll see it first destroyed, and then we'll go back to what it looked like in the beginning, and
Yeah.
then like what?
I usually ask the AD to have the party first, and then let me
Yeah,
take it down. Like I can't. Um, this is like the new studio. I thought was fun. Just like this period, like it's a really good reference. And then this is spectacular. This is now they. I think they built this. Obviously, duh. They didn't
yeah.
shoot in Sistine Chapel, but this was a
So they
fantastic build. I mean, how long did this take? Look at all that drapery and everything, and the tables and the colors, and
Mhm.
I mean, the painting on the walls is a whole nother podcast, but it's fantastic.
It's a great room, and I love how like the tables and the linens on the tables match the floor, and
Hmm.
but you would look at that and go, "Ooh, that was a horrible choice of colors," but it works here. Well, it
Yeah,
has to work there. The
yeah,
colors they use, but it's pretty fabulous.
yeah. I mean, I get the significance of the purple and the red. I don't know where that blue came from. That I don't
Mhm.
get at all, but beautiful. And the flooring in this set is fantastic. And here's how you're saying like they're burning the white their votes. They burn the votes so nobody knows what they voted. Yeah, I love the flooring, and you go back to the Russian guy. Now we got flags. Like, um, but yeah, it was really back and forth with like the Chinese and the Russian. This I thought this card was great. It was
Yeah,
so
that's
it's so different from what they shot though. All of these are toned so different. There's no way you would look at this card to promote
and
this movie.
yeah, I would yeah, I would never be like, "What is this movie about?" if I just saw that.
I mean, I think they're really just promoting who is that? Lawrence? Who is no, I don't remember the actor's name. Does it say on here?
Was it Laurence Olivier?
Is it Laurence Olivier? He was a
Oh,
marathon
am I
man.
getting the names wrong? Oh my gosh. 'Cause I
I
wrote some notes too. Where are my notes?
I
It
mean,
was Anthony Quinn and oh my gosh, was it Sir Lawrence Olivier or
God, I'm losing it. Yeah, Laurence Olivier. Yes. Yes. We're good. We're okay. Well, that other guy, Oscar Warner, the assistant, he was in a lot of movies of this time too, and only through, watching these films. He was in a lot of movies.
Mhm.
He was a good actor. But yeah, this doesn't make me want to watch the movie. I don't get it.
Not at all.
This is fantastic. This is like the Pope's dressing room. And again, that red wallpaper is just fantastic.
Yep. And it might even be fabric.
Yeah, yeah. And then here he's nominated the Pope, and you get to see like the shots going up and the paintings and having those chairs. They had to have them made. They're not sitting around.
Mm, sure.
But yeah, and then this I thought was fantastic. The Pope's bedroom.
I think it was also filmed, in Cinecittà, I think,
Mm.
at, pages there, I read.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, I think too as a decorator when you get like, okay, well, what does the Pope have in his bedroom? It's such a thought process of like simplicity, and you have to have some things, and
And I'm sure just like that, just like we do today, we do a lot of research. There has to be research of what these rooms look like, in the Vatican, and I'm sure they work the same way we do or worked the same way we do or start out, you know?
oh yeah. But they didn't have the internet. I don't know how they
That's
got. I think they just made
books, libraries.
books. I don't
Yeah,
think I think this is a interpretation because I don't think anybody's taking pictures of the group's bed.
Yeah.
I think it's probably so private. And what's weird to is that bedstand up on a box? Now that I look
Look
at it,
on a platform.
yeah, the bed's on a platform, and then they had to extend it because
The dress, yeah, for the side table there.
yeah, mm, caught it. I just caught that. It's weird.
And does he really sleep in a single bed? I guess so.
Uh oh, I went too far. Yeah, I guess. I mean, uh, and then I have no idea. He went on vacation or something and went to this palatial estate. Like, then I was like, "Whoa, he's really into the Catholic money here." Like, this is obviously a location. It's a tremendous. It's a huge room. It's huge. It's big, huge windows and
That
you.
had to be a location.
Yeah, it had to be.
Not that locations are any easier to dress, but
No, not at all. Because well, for that flooring, myself, I'd be like, "So what are we doing in this dance floor over here? Like, what am I doing here?" And it's fine because you have interesting flooring there. You got 2 chairs and a big I don't know what that is, with the bowl on top. I don't know what that is.
good
Pretty.
concept.
Oh, they're all pretty.
Over there. Yeah.
So then he goes out and slums it. He pretends he goes out with the real people, which I thought was great.
I love, yeah.
This was great. Going down alleys and little shops and stores and into a pharmacy and into somebody's home. It was really good. Like the wallpapers, like it's maybe newspaper or anything they use for wallpaper on that left side and
Mhm.
yeah. And then you go to this, like you were saying, like this well, this is the Chinese government, right?
Which looks like a big airport.
Yeah. And
And then
then
his private plane, which of course, again, they must have built that.
yeah, that's definitely a build. Or maybe they converted the other one somehow. Beautiful drapery in that too. Um, and this had to be stock footage.
You would, yeah, definitely. You would think.
Yeah, yeah, they're not. But this got me. This is I don't know how they did this because there's no way they were allowed to shoot in there. And if they were, it would have been in the note somewhere. I would
Mhm.
have read somewhere that they shot inside, you know, St. Peter's, right? Now I'm a bad Catholic. I don't know. I've been there. It's phenomenal inside the Vatican and everything, but um, I don't know how they got these shots. I don't know where they would shoot this to get this scale somewhere else.
Mhm.
But beautiful. Maybe this is just
A lot
footage.
of research on it. That's the only bad thing, about this movie. I couldn't find tons of research. You Google 2001, you can find so much. This, as far as
Yeah.
like the making of it, you really can't find much on it.
Yeah. And this probably was done like they could find a balcony, many balconies in Rome, and then they put it in there.
Yeah.
I think
And
that
again, the banner. I love the banner. I love the draperies.
yeah.
You know, those banners made and
Yeah.
plus
Gotta have that made. And then we're back then there's a small Chinese office. We're back to this. A lot of sets. I mean, again, I thought it was really well done. It was a good movie. I I guess because of the grandness of the Vatican and everything, that's why it was
nominated.
nominated. I should say that oh, of course I can't find it. In this year, Lion in Winter also came out
Oh
and
wow.
Funny Girl. And I would think those two would
Would
be
have been candidates,
yeah,
definitely.
be really good contenders, especially for this next one going up against Julie Andrews and Star.
Mhm.
I had never seen this. I never heard of this movie before. Had you? Had you seen this?
No, never, never. And you hear so much about Julie Andrews. I don't even know who the person that she was. Is it Gwendolyn or
Yeah.
Oh my
Gertrude
god.
Lawrence.
I didn't even know who I'm embarrassed to say, don't even know who that was. But the movie itself, I have to say this is probably my least favorite out of all of the movies.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing that really kept me going, I think, with this film was I liked the way they built, you saw the theatrical stage sets within the film.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought that was kind of fun, but otherwise,
Nah, it was boring.
nothing else like stands out for me in this.
Production designer Boris Levin and set decorators Walter M. Scott and Howard Bristol. And the film is about a musical biography of Gertrude Lawrence, who led a hustling and bustling life on the stage. It was nominated for 7 Oscar awards. And Julie Andrews' wardrobe, designed by Donald Brooks, set a record for the largest number of costumes for an actress in one movie, 125.
Wow.
There are 185 sets in this movie. It had a $14 million budget and only made $9.1 million to date.
Wow. Let's
So
see.
I had read too that they thought, oh, Julie Andrews singing, we got it. Because of Sound of Music, they just assumed it would be a huge hit, and
Hmm.
it was not. There's so many stages in this movie. She's on stage like almost the whole movie, but they really do transition the story a lot through color, I thought. And there's so many dressing rooms. But this, I'm assuming, is well, I guess maybe it's a set because they build 180 sets. Maybe this is a set. I thought this would be a location, but it's very dark in the beginning. She's very dark. And the dressing rooms, there's so many dressing rooms which show her stages of her career that I thought were really interesting, especially watching something like Miss Maisel lately and seeing
Going.
those dressing rooms are so fantastic. This is down and out. That guy's shaving by candlelight. But they don't even have any light. There's no practicals in the hallway. It's like, I don't know, they're down in the dungeon or whatever. But yeah, I did like the theater designs.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of it all. And I did like the costumes. I
Yeah.
thought the costumes were really great.
This is very Victor Victoria to me. This is foreshadowing. And here she's, poor, but again, keep everything so monotone. Her wardrobe, the wallpaper, the bedding. Um, I liked what was there? There was the living room is so dark. Like the world is so dark in the beginning. Look,
Hmm.
great shadows and everything. But this is another theater. I mean, I would think this would be a location. I don't know. And then we start to lighten up a little. Look at how big those candelabras are. Like,
Perfect. But again, the draperies. What
yeah,
impressed me most about all these films, like the draperies.
yeah, they're beautiful. Mm, there's something nice. Like there's just a vase on that table. Like there's real simplicity too in a lot of these films.
Very symmetrical with the two paintings.
Yeah. This I can't this like Art Nouveau starts to come and it's beautiful. All of this woodwork and mirrors and ironwork I thought was beautiful. I can't believe this movie only cost 14 million, really.
Well, 1968.
Yeah. I love how everyone's in black, white room and just the yeah. There's some good scenes here. This is good. There's so many different theater sets.
All the different back.
Yeah.
Like I said, like my favorite part of the movie. I think the movie just bored me a little bit, and that's why I just really wasn't into it.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good movie. Now they're getting her a little blue here. Things are lighting them up. Like That was fun when she went to do the photo shoot and all the big photos of herself.
There
Um,
was something thinking like, wow, that seems really ahead of its time because I think it was only like 1920s or 30s, and I was just thinking something.
yeah,
Was it the photography studio? Maybe it was photography studio.
because this starts out in 1918, it says.
Yeah.
There's another stage set. I mean, this has to be, I don't know where they shot that. I don't know. It had to be a
I'd have
bunch of theaters downtown or something, LA or something, New York. Mm. Now we really step into some color here. This is
or
absurd. But again, there's nothing on the walls.
and look how like the draperies, I think a lot of it, like the trim, the wall, the draperies, everything was like the same tone.
Yeah.
I
It's
think that was in a couple of different sets. I was like, wow, they used like the same.
yeah.
It was like
There's a
it
blue one.
kind of like blended, everything blended in.
It's fantastic. Like this. Then this is another one of her dressing rooms, and the blush and the pink and like. But again, look at those pictures on the wall. It's bad. It's not good. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Then yeah, look at this. This is fantastic.
Stage sets, like I said, were really great, and I wanted to go back and see if like the production designer started. Well, a lot of them did, I think, like as a theater designer. Oh,
Probably.
that I like the walls there, and I was like,
This
is that wallpaper? Was it painted?
or is it like some like faux like marble they were trying to achieve? This room was fantastic. Now she's really made it. Like her walls are just coming alive. It's so
Yeah.
great. This was like my favorite. That drapery, but even then it's still like monochromatic but like rich now. It's like
Mhm.
nice. So many chandeliers in this movie. And then
Was
she
this also shot in London?
let
This
me
movie?
look. I can look. But then we go she falls in love with this guy. And I mean, they give him blank walls.
Yeah.
This filming locations were oh, I have the wrong movie up.
It's just everything is wood. See, it's all like the same. Everything's the same tone.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was done purposely.
I thought this was great with the shadows. Nothing there, but it's still very dramatic. This was the Dennis in Dennis, Massachusetts, the Cape Playhouse, London, England, New York City, and then Fox um in LA. Fox Studios, stage 21, stage 22. I mean, they only had 2 stages? That's crazy. That can't be right. You had like 185 sets, you only had 2 stages? I don't know.
That was fun too.
Yeah, this is fun. This is like her big scene, this big circus act and how there's so much going on. Yeah, I don't know. It was good sets, but it was not a good movie.
That movie.
I could
Okay.
see why it would be nominated, but again, Funny Girl was up this year. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. Well, here it is. The epic.
At the epic.
The epic. Now you chose this war, and then I emailed you back saying, I just want you to know you picked War and Peace, and it's
I was afraid at first, like, oh my God, I really have to sit through like whatever 6, 7 hours of this movie.
yeah,
I actually enjoyed this movie, subtitles and all. Um,
absolutely.
I think I love like these big epic, films, and that's like I was just watching that going like, wow, I wish I that's like something I would love to work on.
Yes.
Uh, I also thought the story was well told, and um, I don't know, I liked it. I really liked it a lot.
I feel like it's one of those things like because I never read it, like, oh, I'll get to that at some point. Like when there's a strike and I have 7 months off, I'll get to that. And look, that's what happened. Um, but I feel like it's something I've always wanted to watch, but never did. I totally agree. The subtitles didn't deter me at all. I think it was just so well made, every part of it. And I was bummed because I watched it with my husband who was totally into it too. But we could only I would have liked to actually watched it 4 nights in a row just to
Mhm.
have it fresh, but we watched it probably over like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. But I was like, I want to see the next like episode. It was good. It was really good.
Was,
Um,
and it looked I thought it looked fabulous,
oh yeah.
especially, with those big battle scenes and, I mean, everything about it just looked really, it was great.
So War and Peace, I will totally not be able to pronounce any of these names.
Cal
Mc-
Bogdanov
Bogdanov and Gandhi,
Bias
Mys
Nico
Myaskanov, and then set decorators Georgie, that's a good one, Koshilev, and
and Vladimir Uvarov.
there you go. All right, I'm better. I am so bad with names. It's so depressing. The Russian, um, as Russian prepares for the French invasion on the eve of 1812. So when you chose this, I was like, well, it's four different movies. Which one did they nominate? Um, because they actually came out in Europe starting, I think, in 1962 or in
Mhm,
Russia. So, but the whole thing was then released in the US in 1968. That's what I could gather on why it was eligible in this one year and not taken as one film at a time. They released them all,
mhm.
which I kind of feel like it's kind of unfair. Like, because
Well, like a series, but I read that it was like 3 years in the it took like 3 years to make or something, and
oh yeah.
budget translated, I think, to like 60 to $70 million of
Yeah.
what the budget was, which is absolutely insane to think of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And they had to use the government's horses because they had
yeah,
so many horses in the film.
I read that. I read
Yeah.
that. I think the government was so involved in it, and they were also saying that I think like their army or Russian army were used as like background. And I also read that over like 40 or 50 museums or something like that donated furniture and
Oh,
chandeliers and like silverware and like table dressing so that the movie could be authentically correct.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
I mean, can you imagine today like that?
No.
Never happen.
No, the insurance on it, no. It would never happen.
But it just seemed like so many people were involved in getting this movie made.
It was also great watching this and then having watched Napoleon this fall too. And the same scene, really, when it's like the difference of the realism of the real horses and then the our modern day take on it. I really like that. I mean, these sets are fantastic. I actually don't know how this didn't win.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I don't know. It's unfair when you have, like Emmys and everything. We have like period, contemporary, or ADG awards. You have different categories. Oscars, I don't care. You get one shot.
And it's only 5, and I think it's so hard.
Yeah. All of these sets, these big, huge ballrooms. Look at those chandeliers. All of the candelabras on the walls and like
Mhm.
so beautiful. It's insane. But this has to be. I can't believe this is a set.
I think probably is
This
location.
has to be a location, right? Has to be. I know my pictures are kind of bad because I took pictures. I took so many pictures off of my own screen while watching it.
Mhm.
I loved this bedroom.
That is great. Look at the yeah,
The
and again,
green,
like soft goods, the
the
yeah,
green
the
satin
green.
bedding.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then another.
Balance around the bed, and again, like you see the red damask walls. I think that was a big deal back then because we had red damask walls we did for the Gilded Age, so that must have
Yeah,
been a popular
rich,
choice.
rich
Yeah.
choice. These sets again. I mean, talk about drapery in every set. I mean, so much yardage. I think too. I think what gets me too about this is, oh, being so naive and dumb. Well, the Russians really had it going on in their filming. Like, they were really into the film industry. Like, I don't know what's going on over there.
Mhm.
I don't know what their film industry is, and this is such a huge project to take on. I actually then I was like so interested in this Russian furniture. It was so gorgeous. I think this one is a set though.
Probably, yeah. And
But
again, look at the chandeliers. I mean, everything.
they're
That was
in
like a real
they're in
floor.
yeah, they're in here a couple times. That other room I think there was only like once or twice. I could be wrong though. This Amazon, they had like an atrium in their house. It was really it was a lot. A lot of greens there.
Like, they bring a greens person in. Who's in charge of that?
Yeah. It was overwhelming. I was like, "Whoa, what is all this greenery in the middle of like Russia in the winter?" But these I mean, I it really goes on and on. So many sets that are grand. But
Yeah,
really, that table should be bigger, right?
definitely. But look how the room, it's still kind of, it's sparse. There's not like a ton of dressing in there,
No. Yeah, I
but it
guess.
gets the point across.
Yeah. I guess I mean, I just noticed that table should be bigger. There should be two
I think
chandeliers.
it should be bigger for the room.
Yeah. Costumes are fantastic. This little love seat, which plays such a role in the movie, this guy's like proposing to this woman. It's so sweet, and the big mirror behind them, and
Mm.
this residence that they had was great. This huge dining room. I mean, look at these tables and chairs. Where did they get all those chairs at the same?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Sony, or like,
Yeah.
Omega.
Yeah, right.
We see a common thread here through all of these movies, like the use of red.
Mhm.
You know, every all of the movies that were nominated, is like red is such like it just stands out in all of these films.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if there was something with the cameras and everything and like um I mean, besides the visual, just trying to get that on the screen too. I don't know.
Mm.
Oh, part two. Okay, we're moving along. Another wonderful bedroom with the drapery and so much. I mean, this is such fantastic research too.
It is. And I think is this one, I was like wondering, I was like, wow, look at the walls, like the color of the wall, like this kind of like purplish. I think there's another room that's kind of purpley too. And I was like, oh, like it's the choice of colors just
Yeah,
really got me.
but it's so matte. It almost looks like a fabric too, like a suede or something. Oh, then this poor girl.
Yeah.
This poor girl. This grand ball is another fantastic, amazing ball that she gets to go to. It's the same room as before, different
Yeah.
night. She gets to go to the ball, but still so many extras. I mean, I wonder what that location was. The use of mirrors in the film too, I thought were great.
Hmm.
Because the scene with that guy on that love seat too, I think when he kisses her, it's in the reflection she does a lot of deep diving in the mirror, looking at herself and poor girl.
That's a
Yeah.
great, yeah. Look at another mirror shot.
Yeah. It's all so well done. And then this prick, this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, what a jerk. What a jerk this guy was to this poor girl, like leading her on. I think I love her. Oh, it's you got to watch it. It's really good.
So old for her.
Yeah, he was way too old for her.
Too old.
But this side by side split screen that they did, like her telling of her night and him telling of his night, that was really well done too.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this has to be a set, but just it's so
Again, everything's
pretty.
so symmetrical.
Yeah. It's so pretty. This was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
They go out to like the uncle's cabin or something. This I feel like is some good research of something I would have never thought of, like having these fabric couches and everything in like a log cabin. like, like I
But you're
wonder.
right, like, watching these movies, I'm like, "Wow, I should look at old movies more." I mean, I do for some research, but some of the movies that you would never think of to go back and look at,
Yeah.
there's some real things in here,
Yeah.
and they're time appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. This was gorgeous. This has to be.
That's great. That has to be somewhere,
Yeah, that
obvious.
painted. And she's gorgeous again, the drapery behind her. So many candles.
Mhm.
This guy's room. Yeah, this guy's room was fantastic. Rug on the wall, and then put your swords on it.
The swords and the guns on it, yeah.
That has to be a real thing. I don't think the
That
decorator made that up. I gotta, that has to be researched, proven. It was so weird. Because now I think, like, even if you did that, you would back the like, you can't even see the guns, really. You would back the guns with, like, a piece of wood or something to make them stand out. Or maybe it was, like, a last minute set, like, "Hurry up, get something in here."
I can't think of anything to cover the wall, or maybe there's a big hole in the wall or
Yeah.
something.
"Hurry
The
up,
set deck cover it.
yeah, hurry up, get this rug over here, dressers." Yeah. Now again, they use this room again, the blue. This part 3 is where it really went sour for these
Mm,
poor people, but then here comes Napoleon. I mean, this was even the
yeah,
army the army scenes and everything are so phenomenal. I spoke with,
being o
Arthur Max and no, I'm forgetting her name, the decorator, and, she was talking about all the tents and, all the fabric and everything for Napoleon's tents. It was fun. But yeah, the guy really into nice things, Napoleon. These battle scenes are
the battles.
phenomenal.
They were.
I'm in awe of these battle scenes. I don't know if I can think of another film cinematically that compares to this.
I would think of something more like to date,
Well,
you know, what
but
is
this
that?
was real.
Saving Private Ryan, or like, no, is what, yeah.
Like Glory, maybe Glory had huge battle scenes. I can't think of anything. This was just so epic.
Mhm.
All of these sprawling hills and people and deep background that you know are real.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Banners and flags were all beautifully done.
Those costumes, winners and losers, the decay of these soldiers. It was, it's
Really good.
inspiring, really. And this is Russia.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They're very proud of this movie.
yeah. It seems like it was, um, as you said, like the government, the military got involved.
Like, so involved in it. That's at least what I read. And
And
again, the costs that they put into it, all the money they put, that's
yeah.
look up though, like the designer, the production designer and like the decorator, like if they what else they, have done, like if their career kept going, or if there's a big career in Russia for film.
Well, the set decorator, there's actually two that are there. Well, the two that we said before. They, yeah, they have, I can't know if there's any other really big, they're all Russian films, so I can't really say. But
Yeah. Sure.
actually, Georgie, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight films and two television projects, so not that much. War and Peace actually is his last thing, and the other decorator, War and Peace, is their only credit. And then
Hmm.
the production designer, the top build production designer, Mikhail, is that the he has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Oh, he started his career in, let's say, 1946 and still was going in 1990. Probably like 25 projects he has. but they're all
Wow.
Russian, so I don't know any of them. But yeah,
Long
it,
career, 1990. Wow.
yeah, 50 year, almost 50 years in the business. Um, but seems like this must have taken a big chunk out of everybody's career, though. Like you probably work. This is like Lord of the
Working out.
Rings, or
Yes.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
working on 4 or 5 seasons of, like, one TV show.
yeah, been there. It's boring.
Yep. Brilliant. People forget about you also.
Yeah,
They don't even.
yeah. That's why you gotta keep moving. You gotta let go. Gotta let go of those characters. They go back to this cabin, and the general took it over, and then they make it like a little military base. And then this is like storming into Moscow, right?
Mhm.
I can't tell if that building's real, to be honest. I don't know if that's a huge backing or what. It looks fake to me, but
I can't tell.
I can't tell. There's so many extras in
Yeah,
the streets of Moscow. It's absurd. I have no idea how any AD could take
handle all that.
control of that.
And, like, when again, they go back and they're moving their furniture and they lose everything and they're packing it all up and
Yeah. And all the candles on the table and the trunks, and they got to get out because Napoleon's coming. All those frames. They took all the art and left the frames. I'd kill for those frames.
yeah. But I love look and see, like, your bottom right, like, how they at least they knew, again, like, how they dusted, like, the walls, like, it looks like there was something there and
Yeah. Which is funny because there's not much on these walls. It's almost like they had to fake it. But yeah, it's good dressing. It's good. I mean, look, this is insane. Look at all these
oh,
people.
goes there. It's crazy.
I don't know what wall this is in Russia, but like, I think that's a painted backdrop over there, I would say.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. But again, the scale of all this and the props and like the horse carts and there's all those animals
Mhm.
and then dressing
Even
nothing.
that right, yeah, just
The nothingness that was left behind is great. Do I have, they started to burn. I think it's coming up when they start burning everything. This had to be looking, this is gorgeous. Whatever room, whatever palace this is in. So gorgeous. All I'm assuming that's all tile.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
So they must have had, permission to shoot in all these beautiful places. I would wonder if they're all like in Moscow. This like
Yeah, they
church
would
she
have
goes to.
you would have they'd have to be, I would think.
Then they burn everything.
I
Then they burn everything. It's insane. It's crazy. They had actors so close to fire. So
Mhm.
many of them. I was like, "Oh man." I so wanted to know like how long these scenes took
Yeah,
cuz it's crazy. It's crazy. That's a lot of dressing there.
a lot of fire too.
Yeah. I don't think there was any safety meeting. I don't think I don't know. Russia in the 60s, I think they were like, "We're setting this building on fire, don't get burned." And
I agree
ash.
with that.
Ugh,
But look, like, the destruction, all the burned out buildings and stuff in the background.
yeah. It's a phenomenal feat of this whole 4 movies. It's really fantastic. That's a lot of dressing there too, not just people, that's a lot of dressing. Then he's held up in this,
Yeah,
probably was a gorgeous at
or
some
something.
point. I'm thinking that's a location. This dark wall, this was a tearjerker.
Mhm.
You jerk. That guy was a jerk. Right? That's the jerk, right? I think. But this
I
had
don't
to
remember who it is. Is that her brother or no?
no. No, I think it's the guy that left her. I can't remember now.
Yes.
Or maybe it was her brother, and that's why it was sad.
Yeah, I
Mm,
feel like it might have been her brother.
yeah. again, the starkness of these walls and then just the little details. I don't even know where they are. This is a bad picture, but such a gilded
Now,
room they gave him. Oh, some of my pictures came out so bad. This is crazy. What is this? This tile thing they put him up against.
like a
Gorgeous.
tile fireplace or something, like a to burn wood.
Mm. And the stained glass windows and the
A lot of
painting.
pattern going on there.
Yeah, that seems very Russian.
Uh,
'Cause look at it, even his chair that he's got his feet on is like all carved out, and he's all depressed because they left him, and now his army's gonna starve to death. It's a sin.
That'll be great. That's a nice looking scene.
Yeah, just burning, eating horses.
Mhm.
How miserable. And then the rebuild is unbelievable. I'm out. I don't I read if I would have read this, I'd be like, I'm out. I can't do this. You want to shoot it in what order? No, thank you. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. And then they're all a little older. The wars have gone by. Look at that green carpet. It's weird that they had carpet, actually, isn't it? Wall to wall
It is, and
carpet.
yeah, look how just smooth it is.
Yeah. They had that back then. Is it?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Is it, or is it like a painted floor? Painted cement
Oh,
floor?
maybe you're right. Because they didn't have wall to wall carpet. I'm wrong. It must be just a green painted floor.
What is this, like 1812 or something?
Yeah.
18.
Well, by this time, I think it's 1817 or 18. I think it spans like 4 or 5 years, the movie itself, at least. Because that kid was a baby, wasn't he? Uh,
Look at so
fanta-
nice.
fantastic. I don't know what that thing in the corner is, but look at the screen, the
Heating element. Oh no, it's like icons on it. It's a
tile.
Russian icon.
You got that glossy tile fireplace there, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Well,
who
I'm
did?
glad I picked 1968
Oh, me
because
too. Me too.
other than Oliver in 2001, I would have never given the time. I would have, said, "Oh, War and Peace. Oh, there's no way I'm going to watch that for 6 or something hours."
8. They
Um,
were like 2 hours. Well, one was like 1 hour, one was like 1.5. Like I think it was like 7 hours or something. And I didn't feel like 7 hours. I don't think.
yeah, and like I said before, it just makes you, when you start a project, especially if you're doing a period film or something, it's really nice to go back and look at some of these movies.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because
just appreciate the scale and everything that went on, and the
Mhm.
influence and so many other films, and yeah. But I think I would have voted for 2001.
I think I probably would have too.
I think I
But I
think
wonder, I'm just wondering, like, what the voters, like, back then, if it was still, I guess the academy has to vote for your, you gotta vote for your peers, but maybe they were just wondering or just thinking, like, it's too out there, or
oh
I don't know.
yeah. Maybe it was too weird. It was too designed or something.
And I think as much as I like the way Oliver looked, I would have went towards War and Peace.
Yes. Between Oliver and War and Peace, I would have went War and Peace.
Yeah.
I don't know how I mean, if you're not gonna give it to 2001, then how do you give it to Oliver over War and Peace?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the way the voting goes, and like I said, again, like, this year it's gonna be hard for me to vote because I really like all of the movies, but they're all so different, and
Yeah.
I find that every year they're all so different.
Yeah. They are.
You know,
That's what's
there is
hard.
like just like a winner, like, oh, that one's whatever, but I don't know. This year I think is very hard.